Harry Potter has a paradox, but also an important lesson, and it is this: follow rules except when doing so undermines the purpose of those self-same rules, in which case, break them. But how does this work, and what is the deeper significance of this lesson? How do you follow rules when breaking those rules might be really what they want you to do? Well, while the answer is spread throughout the entire Harry Potter series, let's first take a look at the third volume called The Prisoner of Azkaban. In this volume, we're introduced to the Marauders Map, a magical tool that provides its wielder with an accurate representation of explored territory or the physical layout and geography of the wizarding school known as Hogwarts, as well as all those who reside in it. But it is a tool to which can only be used and functioned when uttering a set of words that seem to indicate the very opposite of what anyone would consider morally justified behavior.
I solemnly swear that I am up to no good.
And if that isn't bad enough, the map can only then be deactivated with the phrase mischief managed, so its function remains a secret to everyone else, leaving those who solemnly swear that they are up to no good free to continue doing so. So how on earth could this tool be used for anything but no good? And why is it important in revealing more about that rule-breaking paradox that I mentioned earlier? Firstly, it should be said that the map varies incredibly in its ethical usability since it is based solely on the intent of its users. If one were to use it for truly doing no good, then they could. But as we see in the film as well as throughout the series, Harry and by extension his friends Ron and Hermione use the map to regularly but carefully break the rules so as to do real and genuine good. For instance, in The Prisoner of Azkaban, it was by using the map that Harry and Professor Lupin discovered that Peter Pettigrew was still alive, and this eventually led them to realizing who had really betrayed Harry's parents, which in the process proved the innocence of their old friend and Harry's godfather, Sirius Black. If they had simply chosen to follow the established order of the land and believed what everyone and every news outlet thought about Sirius Black, then they would not have been able to break the old ways of thinking and perception for a guilty man. Moreover, they'd likely not even dare to use the map at all in the first place, which ultimately would have left Sirius Black's image still painted as this murderer, with herds of people who, like sheep, follow the status quo, blindly listen to others, and continue to be clouded by the fog of rules that prevent them from seeing the real truth and revelation that Sirius Black was framed. Through careful rule-breaking and daring to use a tool outside of moral protocols, Harry and his friends were able to do some genuine good. But one of the clearest examples of such a lesson comes from later down in the series with Volume 5 and the Order of the Phoenix, in which Harry breaks numerous amounts of rules not just by using the map in itself, but by deciding it was necessary for him to start teaching defense against the dark arts to a variety of students, some even older than him, and who, just like Harry, were also breaking the rules set out by one Dolores Umbridge. Their entire idea, class, and operation went directly against Umbridge's rules, and she actively sought out these students who were being taught her lessons behind her back. So much so that if caught, the punishment was severe and always unavoidable. But Harry and his company knew their secret organization was needed because the old lessons with Umbridge weren't doing anything meaningful to teach them true ways to defend against the dark arts. And as such, they deemed it justifiable to hold their meetings in secret, to which they were largely helped using that same map that kept track of Umbridge and her goons that hunted them down. Without the map, they would not have been able to regularly and carefully break the rules so as to uphold the spirit of those original rules that gave them the right to be taught properly how to defend themselves against the dark arts. All these examples are representing something bigger that occurs time and time again in the series, which is follow rules except when doing so undermines the purpose of those self-same rules, in which case take the risk of acting in a manner contrary to what has been agreed upon as moral. Harry and his friends constantly break the rules within each book, but always do so when it is in accordance to reaching a higher good, and in fact, they are often rewarded for it as well. In the first volume, The Philosopher's Stone, Harry and Ron managed to fight off a large troll that had entered the grounds and which endangered the lives of his friends, in this case, Hermione. An act of bravery that is also an act of breaking the rules, because instead of seeking help from others, such as more magically experienced professors, they chose to stand their ground and fight for what they believed was right, even in the face of death. And what does Professor McGonagall do after this? First, she lectures them on their act of recklessness, but then she rewards their house with points. In the second volume, The Chamber of Secrets, Harry and his friends go to the Forbidden Library to retrieve the recipe for Polyjuice Potion, which allows them to turn into Slytherins so as to find doubt if Draco Malfoy is the real heir of Slytherin and hence the one who is behind the attacks at the school. Time and time again do Harry and his friends regularly but also carefully go about their way to break the rules of Hogwarts so as to do real genuine good. And in my opinion, there's a part of Dumbledore, the headmaster of Hogwarts, that knows this, since to me, he feels like the epitome of a Zen master who can more regularly and carefully break the rules out of anyone, because out of all people at Hogwarts, he knows them the best. And largely because I'm sure he had a good part in creating them in the first place. Which is not only why we even see Dumbledore breaking the rules at times, most famously in refusing to be taken into arrest by the Ministry, but probably also why he so fondly looks down upon the endeavors of Harry and his friends, because to me, I feel like he can see a part of himself and is moreover proud of how they have grown to teach themselves of that same purposeful but careful rule-breaking spirit within their lives. To me, Dumbledore knows exactly why he can break the rules, which is also exactly why he's happy that Harry and company do so, because like him, they follow the rules to the point where the spirit of those same rules serve them in doing good. But when those rules change or can no longer serve them in doing good because the circumstances around them have changed, however rare that might be, then and only then can those who know the rules so well can go break them in order to take the risk of acting in a manner contrary to what has been agreed upon as moral, so as to above all else do real genuine good. And it's important to not understate that last part, because like the Marauders map, regularly and carefully breaking the rules only works in the eye of the beholder. And if one breaks the rules for the wrong reasons, they are ignoring the original spirit of the rules and should rightfully be condemned for their actions. But if done for the right reasons and in the face of tremendous danger, fear and adversity, then this person might just become a hero.